Hey y'all, welcome back to the Roads Less Traveled. I'm out here on a piece of public that haven't been to in a very long time. I've never deer hunted. And I'm out here because I've got a spring turkey hunting permit. But I'm taking this opportunity to look around and do some scouting for deer come this fall. Alright y'all, so I've been kind of out here walking around this place. Covered, I don't know, 5 miles probably last 2 days. And I found some stuff that's going to help me if I decide to come back and hunt this fall. I thought this would be a good opportunity to just kind of go over some of the stuff I look for and some of the stuff you can look for if you get an opportunity to get out and scout either in spring or early summer before, food sources become readily apparent. So let's just back up for a minute and let's talk about some of the different stuff you should be looking for and you can find this time of year. One of the easiest things to find is look for people sign. Look and see if you can tell if people have been deer hunting this area really hard. Obviously you can do that by looking for trash, piles of trash, deer lures, whether it's scent bottles or scent wicks or things like that people leave behind. You can also look for tree stands. And I've found a little bit of all of those things. I found a tree stand yesterday. I found some bottles of scent, some trash people left behind. But overall, I haven't found that much. So it leads me to believe that people don't deer hunt this area as heavy as some of the other places I've been. But I've kind of got an idea for the people that are hunting, at least in this area, where they're spending their time. And if I come back here, I'm going to try to avoid those areas. So obviously, if people are number one, then I'm going to say food sources are number two. And that can be really difficult this time of year because your fruit-bearing trees, whether that be acorn trees, persimmon trees, locust trees, those trees like that, they haven't started to develop mast. So you can't tell which trees are going to be productive and which aren't. It's still a good idea to kind of go ahead and mark a few of those trees, kind of get an idea where some of them are, so you can come back and take a look at them later. One thing you can look at, what I'm kind of looking at now, is just, if there is wildlife openings in the area. If the Game and Fish or whoever runs the area has maintained them, if they've kept them mowed, if they've planted them. This is a little wildlife area, wildlife opening here, and it looks like it's pretty well maintained. So I would anticipate they're going to either plant it or at least bush hog it and, keep it open come next year. Another thing to look at is if there's ag in the area, drive around and see if you can tell if the crop field's been planted. Obviously number one would be beans. If you can find beans, that's something to definitely note down for early season. And maybe try to get your trail camera up close to there because it's going to pull some deer from the ways typically. But also, corn. If there's corn close by, that's something to definitely keep in mind to potentially target come early fall. I actually put a trail camera up on public, but it was close to a recently planted bean field. The beans are just barely sprouting up. I got that up yesterday. And the idea with that is I've got trail cameras laying around and they ain't doing me no good at home. So might as well just throw them up. I know I'm not going to be back here before deer season. I'm not going to get a lot of great intel right now, but I kind of set those cameras so that they are transmitting at a low frequency, not very often, try to save the batteries. The cameras I'm putting out today actually have solar panels built in, So hopefully the batteries will be able to handle it. I just want to set it at low enough frequency so that I don't fill my SD cards up. That camera I set up yesterday is close to a bean field, so hopefully there'll be a lot of deer using that. So when I come back in here, in the fall, even though the beans may be harvested, it'll kind of give me an idea of the quality of deer in this area, because honestly, I have no idea. The next thing I want to talk about, and this is something that's can be difficult to find, but that's the historic buck sign, okay? Now, it's hard to find in the fall. Let me turn the camera around here. Right here on the edge of this green field, you can see that there. This is an old rub. I don't know if it's from last year or the year before, but deer are being rubbing on some trees around here. Right over here, right where you typically expect to see it, I think this limb, there's an old scrape. You can kind of tell where it's been cleaned out before. There's a couple tracks in it, but the main thing is this licking branch right here. That's all twisted off there. There's another one right there. There's another one there. And if you walk down the edge of this field, you're going to find a couple more of those scrapes right down there. So I know that bucks are using this during the rut. What I really like about this little spot is this field kind of necks down real narrow here. There's this little point that runs out. It's just a real narrow corridor. There's some pigs down there. Apparently this place has a lot of pigs, so that's something to keep in mind too. But anyway, as I was saying, there's a real narrow corridor here between two large wildlife openings, and that's going to be a perfect pinch point. And the great thing is right off that pinch point is where I have that historic scrape and rubs. And there's also a couple of locust trees close by. Now, I don't know if those locust trees are going to produce come, late summer, into the fall, but I think this is a great spot to get the camera up. Try to cover those licking branches on that scrape, but it's also going to cover this little pinch point and, part of this wildlife opening that should be funneling deer and attracting deer, and there's some potential for some locust trees and some of these oak trees around here to produce. There's potential for food as well. That's one of the big things of putting cameras out this time of year, is I try to find areas that there are multiple things that all kind of come together in one spot, right? Because you need this camera location to be good, not only during the spring and summer, but you also want it to be good in the fall, because I don't know when I'm going to get back here. So I want this camera to be getting pictures of deer all year round. So if you can find those areas that you have multiple factors that all kind of come together in the same spot, then it's going to be a good spot. Not only, one time of year, but hopefully the entire time of the year. I'm going to get that camera up right there in that little tree to watch over this little opening in this corner. And hopefully when I come back in here, I got some good deer on my camera. One other thing I just want to mention too is that spring turkey hunting is a great time to keep your eye out for sheds. A lot of them have probably been picked up if it's a high traffic, area for people, or critters may have got to them, squirrels may have chewed them up. But if they're still on the ground, it's a great opportunity to kind of, knock out multiple birds with one stone. Get out here, do some turkey hunting, do some scouting, maybe find some sheds. I scout year round, but I feel like a lot of people miss out on, just always paying attention to deer sign when they're in the woods. You can learn so much, not just, during the rut or, just immediately after it doing your postseason scouting. You can continue scouting all summer long. It just becomes a little bit harder. You've got to just pay a little bit better attention to stuff so you're not missing a whole bunch. Anyways, guys, that's going to cut it for this one. Hopefully it helps some of y'all out there wondering about this. My best advice is to get out there and do it. And if you've got spare trail cameras, throw them suckers up. Make them work for you. Don't let them sit at the house. You ain't gonna learn anything that way. I hope y'all have a blessed day. And remember, take the roads less traveled.